Today our goal is to go over the best teams to join in college football 25 Road to Glory as a wide receiver. And the goal of this video is to help you join a college program that threw the ball at a high clip. So let's say over 350 passing attempts in a season. Now I'm getting these sources from NCAA.com and PFF.com. So you have two reliable sources there. The second goal we have is a reliable returning quarterback that most likely will be rated well in college football 25. Look, we don't want to have some freshman coming out there that's spooked, that's going to get rattled by the environments that we're going in, and they're just able to get that ball out to us so we can make something shake out here. And a bonus goal that we have in place is a program that hasn't won a national championship. That'll be a plus to join and be the first one to get that done. So if you're excited for this video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and this is our 2 early predictions for the best teams to join as a wide receiver in Road to Glory in college football 25. Now the first team we want to take a look at is the Colorado Buffaloes with Shedeur Sanders. Look, he's going to be a returning quarterback and possible cover athlete. We don't know yet, it's not confirmed, and we know he has a cannon of an arm and he's extremely accurate. Downsides of joining this team though would be the offensive line. Shedeur was one of the most sacked quarterbacks last season, and unfortunately this may put him at an injury risk, and if EA does replicate that in the game and the offensive line doesn't update over time, look, this may be something to struggle with on deep ball attempts down the field. Now, another thing that may be a problem is the Colorado defense keeping you in shootouts every single game, no matter the opponent. Look, we saw what Colorado State versus Colorado was like, and you don't want to be that receiver putting up 4 or 5 touchdowns and still end up going into overtime after that just to possibly lose a game when you're on the way to a championship, trying to get Prime 1 championship with his sons. Now, something we did want to do is just go ahead and add the Colorado statistics. So we're going to do this for each team that we list, but as far as the 3 categories, we're going to go with passes attempted, passes completed, and also the picks and touchdowns. I guess that's 4 categories, but outside of that, they passed the ball 474 times last season. So that means you're going to get an opportunity a lot of times to make something shake down the field. Now the passes completed 323 for a total of 29 TDs on the season. I think that's a really solid number, especially for the opportunities that you're going to get down the field. And when you join that team, you know those touchdown numbers are going to go up because you're going to be the one snagging that ball down the field. And also, they only threw 4 picks last season, so you have a reliable quarterback that isn't going to throw you out of a game in certain situations. Now, as far as this team, they have a transfer quarterback, and I actually went to go watch this quarterback several times, and that's the Oregon Ducks and Dillon Gabriel. Now, he's a transfer quarterback from the University of Oklahoma, and he allows this team to have a veteran presence in his final season. Now, he originally started at Central Florida, moved from there after having an injury to Oklahoma. Now he's at Oregon. Now, keep this in mind, Oregon was the #1 passing offense based on stats from NCAA.com, and this will be Oregon's first season in the Big Ten. So you're going to get a lot of firsts with this team going into EA College Football 25, and also can snag a Big Ten title your first season in that thing, right? Now, as far as Dillon Gabriel at Oklahoma, these are the Oklahoma stats. So this is a combination of everybody who was in the quarterback room. Passes attempted 453 passes, passes completed 310 completed passes, and they only had 9 interceptions with a total of 34 TDs. So look, Oklahoma has something going on for sure, but as far as Oregon though, they did way more with this. Passes attempted, they had 514 passes, and passes completed 397 passes completed with only 5 interceptions and 49 TDs. So look, Bo Nix was slinging that ball all across the field. Pause. I don't know if Dillon Gabriel is going to be able to maintain that, but we see how aggressive that coach and the OC is over there at Oregon. So this will set them up to be a prime spot to go to, along with they haven't won a national championship before. This is their first season in the Big Ten, and they got some of the coldest uniforms in the college football. So you know that drip's going to be crazy. Now, this team may surprise a lot of people because I'm not sure how many of you actually want to join them, but this is Ole Miss and Jackson Dart. Now, he's a returning QB for the 2nd year in a row. He was an initial transfer from USC, but now he's with the Ole Miss Rebels and had a top 20 passing offense according to NCAA.com. Now he was throwing that ball all over the yard. He has really good arm talent, and Ole Miss will have a favorable schedule, surprisingly, in the SEC West, with their first 4 games being almost guaranteed W's with Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, and Georgia Southern. So look, you can go in your freshman season trying to get some rapport, trying to get used to how Jackson is going to throw the ball around, and also how the OC is going to make something shake out there, and you really don't have any insane pressure till the later part of the season. But as far as the stats for Ole Miss, they attempted 394 passes, completed 256 passes, with only 6 interceptions and 26 touchdowns. So you add yourself to that equation, being the first 4 games of the season, you could easily walk away with 8 to 10 touchdowns in those first 4 games and help boost these stats. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be joining this team, but I could be wrong on this, so you got to let me know in the comment section. But this will be the Texas Longhorns. You got Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. This is a loaded quarterback room with Quinn Ewers and the future with Arch Manning. This will make your road to glory one to stick with Texas in the long term. That's if both of those guys don't dart out at the end of the season. Now, Quinn Ewers did lead the Longhorns to a Big 12 title and a college playoff selection, which is a good look for them overall. Texas had a top 20 passing offense and will be entering the SEC for their first season ever. So now you're walking into some serious competition, but you have a confident locker room and a leader of your team off the rip. Something to keep in mind too, Texas has a very hostile environment. So going into the SEC, you're going to have one of the toughest places to play in America, and you're going to have teams coming in rattled off the rip, especially first-time SEC teams outside of maybe the Bamas and the LSU and Georgias of the world. Now, when it comes to the stats with Texas, they attempted 475 passes, they completed 317 passes, only 9 interceptions, and 25 touchdowns thrown. Now, as far as their schedule, it's going to be pretty tough, but I think you can go ahead and just assume, you're going into the SEC, but you guys went to the playoffs. So it's one of those things that you should have a loaded group across the board, and you're replacing some really good receivers and guys like Xavier Worthy. Now, this is the last team, but definitely not the least, I gotta say, and that's the Arizona Wildcats with Noah Fifita. Now, Noah Fifita was the 2023 Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year and has serious arm talent, leading the Arizona Wildcats to a top 10 passing offense and a 10-3 record while beating Oklahoma in the Valero Alamo Bowl. So keep that in mind. Arizona Wildcats beat an SEC team before even going into the Big 12, which is a good look. Now, they will be entering the Big 12 this season and has a real chance to disrupt a lot of teams with the talent coming back, including their quarterback. And don't sleep on their defense. They got some menaces on that side of the ball, especially their linebacker number 0. That man transferred from Oregon, and he's going to be a whole problem in himself. But as far as their stats, they attempted 464 passes, completed 332 passes, 11 interceptions, but 36 touchdowns. So Arizona wasn't playing any games when it came to trying to be competitive. And look, I believe they lost to Washington twice. And if you're losing to the team that made it to the national championships, I mean, it is what it is, right? I think it's kind of like, if you're that close to possibly being in the national championship conversation, you can fix that. Now, as far as a few bonus teams that I wanted to add to this list, this is mainly just for fun and also just to keep in mind the environments you're going to play in, along with the potential that EA could rate these quarterbacks very well going into college football 25. Now, the first team we have is the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the Black Shirts. Dylan Raiola, I believe that's what I'm saying. Hopefully I'm not butchering that man's name. He's a 5-star quarterback with serious arm talent. Look, I don't know much of him, but he did have some spring game highlights and he put up some crazy passes out there, and he looked good and looked simple and easy doing it. So it just depends on how EA rates him. Obviously, he doesn't have any playing experience outside of high school, so he easily could be a 75 overall that gets rattled when he goes against Ohio State, Michigan, and so on and so forth. The next team, Penn State and Drew Aller. Look, Penn State's going to be an incredible environment to play in, probably one of the top 5, top 10 places to play in America. And you know, you're gonna have those whiteouts, but the thing is, Penn State doesn't throw the ball as much as other teams. I believe they were outside of the top 25 when it came to the passing offense. So it's one of those things, you're gonna have a balanced attack, and if you aren't in control of calling the plays, it may not be the best experience as a wide receiver. The last team I wanted to add to this list is the Tennessee Volunteers, and you're gonna be playing with Nico Iamaleava. I think I'm saying that correctly, but I had to space it out, you know what I mean? So with him, he's a 5-star QB. He could literally set the scene on fire. He has serious arm talent. Literally, I think he can throw the same distance as Joe Milton. I could be boosting that just a little bit, but he's gonna be very athletic, very accurate, and we don't know how the Tennessee Volunteers are gonna turn out, but you're also gonna be playing in Rocky Top. And so it's gonna be one of those things, man, you can literally change the whole scene of Rocky Top going there, being that top dog receiver and changing the culture. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I just wanted this to be a pre-release list of the best schools to go to as a wide receiver in your road to glory in college football 25. Look, once we get the full game and the ratings of the quarterbacks and the schools and things of that nature, but hopefully you can be that receiver to go in and get a team over the hump and maybe, you know, bring a team a national championship in your true freshman season. But outside of that, let me know what team are you already eyeing going into college football 25, especially before we even know anything about the game. But outside of that, I appreciate you watching the video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, and hey, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Why they be down at the news of me up? Shawty, she down, she be choosing me up. I pour this brown with the juice in my cup. Tell the DJ play me some pimpin' out of